guys, it's Alexis, aka the Sloth Reader, and I'm here today to do my July TBR. It's a pretty ambitious TBR considering I have not successfully completed a single TBR I've done, but I'm hoping to maybe get to all of these books this month. We'll see. Also, I apologize for the noises in the background. I'm having to film this while I do housework, so sorry. I have a very small amount of free time and I have to just make everything work in that time frame. The first three books I'm going to mention are all books that were on my top to read in 2017 list. These are some of the ones I haven't gotten to yet, so I'm hoping to knock 3 of those off of my list. The first is Because You'll Never Meet Me by Leah Thomas. I wanted to read this book because a friend of mine really loves this book and I wanted to be able to read it and talk to her. This follows our two main characters, Ollie and Moritz, who, for whatever reasons, both of them can't really leave their houses. So they become pen pals, and it's about this friendship that they have and how this friendship leads them, I guess, to discovering things about themselves and their own issues that they're dealing with. Yeah, I'm just really excited to read this because, like I said, a friend of mine really loves it, so hopefully I'll get to it this month. The next book I'm going to mention is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Mistborn series. I am not making any promises to complete this book, but I want to at least get probably halfway through it this month. It is a pretty large book. This series follows a group of people called allomancers who have the ability to ingest metals and get certain abilities from said metals. Each metal has its own distinct ability, and it follows our main character Ven as she kind of gets caught up in a rebellion to topple the Lord Ruler, who is like a ruler who's been ruling these lands for like 1,000 years. So this is the second book in the series. I don't know, I'm interested to see where the series goes because the first book, in my opinion, wrapped up like almost perfectly. Like, it really honestly could have been a standalone book. So I'm intrigued to see like how this goes. And yeah, so hoping to at least start this one this month. The next book I'm gonna mention is one I'm definitely planning to listen to an audiobook, and that is Champion by Marie Lu. This is the third book in the Legend trilogy, which is her dystopian trilogy about two main characters, June and Day, and basically about how they each are trying to change the government that they live in. This is the final book in the trilogy, so I'm nervous but also excited to see how everything wraps up, especially because the second book kind of left not on a cliffhanger but on like a really big surprise, I guess. So I'm really interested to finally get to this final book and see how it all goes. The next book I'm going to mention is the one new release in July I really want to try to read this month, and that is Because You Love to Hate Me, which is the booktuber author collaboration curated by Amory here on BookTube. Basically, this is 13 booktubers gave prompts to 13 authors, and then they created villain stories out of that, which I think is a really cool concept. I probably would have picked it up even if the booktubers weren't involved, just because I love villains, I love villain stories, and a lot of these authors are either authors I really like, or are authors I'm interested to get into. So yeah, so I'm super excited to pick this up. I'm hoping to pick it up when it comes out on the 11th of July and get to it this month. Super excited. The next book I'm going to mention is another one I'm probably going to listen to on audiobook. And that is The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. This is the second book in the Heroes of Olympus series. I read the first book, The Lost Hero, last month, and I'm basically trying to read a book a month in this series till I complete it. So this is the second book, so I'm going to go ahead and pick this one up. This one, I believe, happens concurrently with the first book, but this book takes place in like another location while the first book in the series is happening, I think. Anyway, I am really excited to see, because this series is really different from the Percy Jackson series in my opinion. I think there are a lot of really key elements that make it very different. So because of that, I'm very intrigued to see how this book goes and how this series continues to go. The next book I'm going to mention is another one I'm planning to listen to on audiobook, and that is The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Attier. In June, I listened to The Wrath and the Dawn and really enjoyed it. Noticed that the audiobook for The Rose and the Dagger was read by the same narrator, so I was like, I definitely want to listen to it on audiobook again. I'm planning to do it this month. I think a friend of mine who actually urged me to read The Wrath and the Dawn is going to be reading it this month too, so we're going to try to both read it this month so we can talk about our feelings. The last book I want to try to get to in the month of July is also one I'm planning to listen to on audiobook, and that is Always and Forever, Laura Jean. I initially wanted to read this book as soon as it came out, but I sat down and tried to read it, and I couldn't get into it, and that is because the first two books, both To All the Boys I Loved Before and P.S. I Still Love You, I listened to on audiobook, both read by the same narrator, by Laura Knight Keating. And to me, she just totally brought the story to life, and I loved the narration. So I felt weird trying to read this third book as a book rather than trying to listen to it. So I decided that I wanted to wait until I could get my hands on the audiobook of this before I went ahead and read it, and I finally got my hands on the audiobook. So yeah, so I'm finally gonna listen to this on audiobook and see how the series all wraps up, and I'm so excited. Alright guys, that was my July TBR. Like I said, it's kind of ambitious. There are a couple of pretty large books on here, but I know I can listen to 4 to 6 audiobooks a month, and I'm planning to listen to half of these on audiobook, like for sure. So that really works out in my favor. You guys should let me know down below what you're planning to read in July, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!